Coach, just talk about the scrimmage tonight. How did you feel like it went?
I thought it was great to be under the lights. I thought it was great. I thought that we put them through a lot of different situations. We had a lot of sustained, really good drives. And then I thought defense in moments, they showed as well. There was a couple turnovers, and it's hard with some of the sacks that might have occurred that, you want the play to play out. The refs don't always blow the whistle. I don't always blow the whistle. Sometimes it might be a sack, but it also might be a big play. And we probably had 3 of those in there that both sides of the ball could go back and take a look at and have one opinion or the other, but that's good. We're keeping each other safe. We're playing safe football. We're playing good, safe football, and that's ultimately what we should do here. I thought a lot of guys were situationally aware. A lot of guys did a good job. You felt a little bit of the stuff early with some of the procedural penalties, but then after that first, couple drives, 2 drives, you never saw it again. So I'm pretty pleased with the learning on the fly very quickly and just how well we did.
Take us through kind of the script of your scrimmage and how you wanted it to play out, and did it kind of play out how you wanted it to?
Yeah, so we said we're just going to, start with, get ourselves into some a kickoff, run down the field and make sure we feel what that feels like, and then put the ball down and play. And then if we found ourselves in a situation where we were in red zone, where we got to the goal line and we didn't have to fabricate it by just spotting the ball, then we were going to do that. And as we went through the first couple drives, we ended up punting, and we let both the first and second team punt so we could get some good reps on that. We threw every situation out of in there, and then we eventually got the ball down into the red zone, got the ball into the goal line, executed 2 2-minute drives, backed up that went 99 yards, and then some other stuff in there. So I thought we did a good job. I thought the defense flew around, communicated really well, and I thought the offense did the same. So it's like it was a good overall good day.
Talk about each side of the football and kind of what stood out today in the scrimmage.
Yeah, so I think, first of all, just the getting off blocks and tackling to me showed up. I think the speed, like sometimes you thought things were there and all of a sudden they closed down pretty quickly, and that was neat to see. I thought that some of the receivers made some good plays downfield, and then I thought that our field goal unit was phenomenal. I mean, there was 52, and this almost didn't hit the net. He was so high with the kick. So, there's a couple things in that. There's just good competition going all over this field, and I was very pleased with, again, the running, the getting off blocks, and the tackling on defense. And then I thought the execution on offense at times was really, really good, especially being able to throw the ball down the field.
Was everything game-like as far as even having coaches in the press box and everything like that? Was that all pretty smooth?
Yeah, that was great. That was great. The play clock was on, helmet communication beeps and shuts off at 15 seconds, so you get all of those things that are going to be game-like, minus, obviously the noise of the crowd was not here today.
How did you go about, did you split reps for the most part with everybody and get equal amount of reps for the most part right now?
We tried our best. It's not going to always work out that way, but then we flowed it different. So we went from our purple group to our white group to our gold group. Then we did it again, purple, white, gold. Then we just tried to track reps. But then if there was a longer drive, then maybe there were subs happening with the purple and the white guys jumping in at the same, like a purple might jump in for the white group. So then they lost a couple reps if they couldn't get back onto the field and sub again. So it's all position coaches were handling it a little bit differently. And in the end, we met at halftime. What do we got to do next? And that's what we did.
Is that something you've tried to do, is really put different guys with others so that they can kind of get used to it, so the first time it happens isn't on a Saturday?
Yeah, exactly. So I think, again, I mentioned it before, but if COVID taught us anything, it's be prepared for, the unexpected, and that's exactly what, we're trying to do out here. We don't want it to just be, hey, this is these 11 guys only, and then these 11 guys, we want to keep mixing it over and over again.
How has the adjustment gone for that new technology with being able to communicate with one guy on the field?
Yeah. I think it's really cool. Like, as I listen to, I can't talk to him, but Coach Kennedy can, and as I hear him talking, the things he's saying right up to the 15-second mark, then there's a beep and it shuts off. So just listening to that communication of, we're lined up and he's seeing things and able to communicate it, and you see the quarterback thumbs up a bunch of times because they're on the same page. Pretty neat to watch.
How important is it to get a night game or night scrimmage like this when you have so many early morning practices?
Yeah, it's very important to get out here under the lights, catch the punts, right? To catch the ball down the field, do all the things that come along with it. We got to be able to do that because we also practice in the morning and we play a lot of night games later. So that's how we're going to roll these next 2-3 Saturdays.
In terms of learning the playbook, do you think this is sort of a benchmark period that they've kind of stepped up at this point?
Yeah, I thought they did a really good job. I didn't see, there was a couple of things that our technique was a little off. I did not see people not understanding their assignment. I saw that maybe their just technique was a little bit deeper as they're slicing across on a block, or a linebacker just stacking a little bit differently than he should. I did not see schematic issues. I saw more fundamental things that we just got to keep sharpening up. It's the first time we went live in a lot of different ways. So not the first time we went live, but it's the first time we went live for a long, sustained period of time. So things are going to happen in there, and I just think that consistency is what we just got to keep pushing.
It's going to be different for everybody, for spring transfers too, but at what point do you really feel like everything's going to start ramping up the speed?
Well, I think right now this is going to give us a good indication, right? So what we do after this is we're going to get in here, we're going to watch this film, we're going to grade this film, we're going to begin to figure it out, right? Because after this turn on Saturday, we can't get everybody all the reps that we've been getting up to this point in time. Now we got to start to speed it up just a little bit more.
Communication was one of the things that you said you were impressed with today. I mean, 58 new players on roster. So how valuable is it at this juncture of the offseason for the communication to be? Is it where you want it to be right now, or is there still some areas?
No, I thought it was good. I think that there was one time where because you can't forget about this. Sometimes the helmet in general, the communication with the headsets just don't work all the time. So when you have that and you're only solely relying on the helmet communication, you're going to end up in a little bit of a bind. So what we did is make sure we still have some signals, fake or live. I won't reveal that all the time, but at the same point, we want to try to make sure that we're mixing up those things all the time. But I thought overall communication was good. Again, it was quiet, so it wasn't like how well were we communicating things. And then what happens, you don't want to burn timeouts for lack of the sideline getting the call in, but then us communicating it down the line. But there were a couple adjustments we had to make with the formation that maybe slowed us down or cost us to use a timeout or take a penalty, and those are things that we don't want to happen. But we said only 2 or 3 times, and that's not bad for your first scrimmage.
Grade your quarterbacks. What'd you think of those guys today?
I thought they did a good job. I thought that all 3 of them, played really well. I thought Zoe, he pulls the ball down and makes a bunch of plays. He stands calmly in the pocket. I thought Dylan did a really good job understanding the offense and continuing to progress in that. And then I loved watching Billy out there, run around and throw the ball too. And then you watch JC come out, and that's a big dude back there that's going to be making a lot of plays in the near future. So there's a lot in there that those guys did really well.
About your pass catching group today? I know you mentioned some down the field receivers making plays. Any names that stood out to you there, and what were they doing to get effective separation?
I think Dylan Williams just continues to grow as a young guy, and then OD. We need OD to just keep coming, right? We need him to keep coming, and he had a great day, I thought, today. He caught a lot of footballs and did a really good job with it. Ymir stood out a whole bunch, right? There's Haji made a bunch. Everybody did, I thought, a really good job. When that ball was in their vicinity, they were making plays, and it was really fun to watch them. And then there was just a couple that were, just tough, tight defense and offensive, great clean battles, no flags, no penalties, but sometimes the defense got the best of those, and they were well thrown balls, like well positioned on offense, and the defense just steps in and makes some plays. So there's a lot of cool stuff to watch down the field.
Speaking about the other side of that equation, the defensive backs and secondary as a whole has had a lot of turnover and a lot of question marks. What do you feel they've grown the most in during this camp, and who has excited you there?
I think the communication piece is a big part of it, especially from the safety position. You got to get everybody on the same page, and you got to do it quick. And that's not the easiest thing to do with some of the things our offense is doing. So I thought watching them grow in that manner was pretty neat. The corners, getting out there and playing the way that they played today, I thought was neat to watch. And then the safeties, just got to keep coming down. And then the tackling piece for them just has to continue to grow. They did a great job. I just would like to see them be a little more firm on some of those tackles. But we got some big running backs back there too that when they put their pads down, it's a tough out.
Front of that defensive unit, the D-line has shown a lot of flashes this camp and made some plays. How were they playing today, and what is your evaluation on that group?
I thought there was, again, 10 guys that we rotated through, and you didn't see much of a drop-off from, number 1 to number 10. There's a solid group in there that plays really, really hard. We just got to continue to progress them along, find the right combination, but just know the combination will never be the same. At some point, someone's going to tire before someone else, jump out. Someone else will jump in, and then maybe we just got a hot hand at a DN that's just getting after the quarterback right now. We got to keep feeding that kid. Those are all things that we'll keep working through, but one game may not look exactly the same as the next game, may not look exactly the same as the next game. So to have some depth in there and have guys that are capable and guys that are tough and guys that are going to play every play as hard as they can was exciting to see today.
With it being a game-like scenario, who are you seeing stepping up and kind of directing traffic and really taking on that leadership role?
I thought, you're saying on offense, defense, just in general. I think, again, Dobbs continues to do a really good job, and then I also think Trent does that. But then you watch JT, all the same guys that are continuing to do it in practice. You would expect practice, the game or the scrimmage to look like practice, and it did. I thought on the offensive side, again, the communication from the quarterbacks paramount, but just watching the offensive line. Tanner Morse, Cole Potts played a lot of games together, right? They've spent their entire careers here. This is their team, ultimately, right? And to watch them communicate and get everybody on the same page is pretty fun to watch as well. So those were things to me that just stood out. The offensive line, along with those 3 main guys that have continued to carry the weight. I think our job now is, as we move forward, is knock one of them out, right, of playing for a minute and see who picks it up next when they're not in there, and just start to prepare for that is the next phase of this as well.
With there being so many fifth-year transfers, how do you have to make sure there's not too many cooks in the kitchen sometimes in terms of that communication?
It's not how it works, right? Like the safety is making the call, the linebacker is setting the front, the safety is making the coverage checks, and that's how it works. It's not all 11 guys aren't talking. 2 are talking, 11 are echoing and communicating what those 2 said, and that's just the way it works. So there's not going to be overriding going on from some other guy because he'd rather do this. The plays come in from the sideline, we make the adjustments, everybody gets on the same page. If we're all right, we're right. If we're all wrong and all wrong together, we're right, and we just continue to move that way.
New age, another year wiser. What's something that this year has blessed you with, and what are you grateful for from this past year of life?
Happy birthday, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I'm thankful to be here on your birthday, right? It's not very often. I mean, for me, because it's on August 10th, my birthday always falls around football and preseason camp, and there's no place I'd rather be. So it was really, awesome to see my family here, my parents, my in-laws here, my sister-in-law here, and my kids running around out here. And I share a birthday with Coach Smith's son, Calvin. He turned 7 today. I'm exactly 40 years older, so I'm 47 today. He's 7. I just can't believe I'm 47. That's like tipping up on 50 here. That's wild to me. But no, it's all good. So I'm just blessed to have the support of my family and the support of everyone here. So it's exciting moment, right, in my life, but just an exciting moment in I think this program's history as well. And just a cool day to share our first scrimmage together with the day I was born.
Anybody on the team give you any presents? I mean, what
Yeah, there was a cake back there. There was a cookie that came in, or a cake showed up, and then our players saying happy birthday this morning. Just a phenomenal birthday, Dave. You couldn't ask for anything. Couldn't ask for anything more.